Hi everyone. So a lot of you have been asking for me to post this on my website. I was finally able to do it. It was something that was a typical technology thing which you think is going to be easy to do, but ended up being a lot more complicated because I had to have my DirecTV talk to my TiVo, which had to talk to my Macintosh, which had to talk to the iMovie, and so on and so forth. But I was able to get it all uploaded for you guys to take a look at. And this is my appearance on HGTV's That's Clever. The crew and everybody who worked with HGTV was great. They came over to the studio and we spent a good afternoon and evening, a full afternoon and evening filming everything. And it was a lot of fun. So take a look. It's a little bit silly in some spots, but take a look and hope you enjoy it.
Throw 3 darts at the map. Toss in 3 wildly distinctive personalities,
How's that for a first impression?
plus 3 clever projects, and you've got a craft show that'll have you saying, "That's clever." This jewelry artist from California is anything but transparent when he sheds some light on a wearable art pendant.
Hi, my name is Patrick Cusick and I live in San Francisco, California. I make jewelry. Come step into my world. Nature is an endless source of inspiration in my work. Today, I'm going to make this botanical-inspired pendant. Time to get started. For the pendant, I started off by creating the design on my computer. I left the center of the design open because later I'm going to press an actual leaf into the center. Once I have the design completed on my computer, I print it out on an overhead transparency. I like to put 2 images up on one sheet because after I expose it to the black light, one might turn out better than the other. Next, I cut out the transparency. I printed it out as a negative so that the image on the jewelry will be positive. Next, using this negative, I'm going to make a photopolymer plate. So I'm going to take my negative, expose it to the photopolymer plate, develop it, and use that to make an impression on my clay. I start off by removing the protective coating from the photopolymer plate. I place it onto the sponge, I take the negative, I place it face down onto the photopolymer plate. Take the glass, place it on top of the negative, then I take the clips to secure the whole thing. Now I'm going to expose this to some light, but not just any light. I use a black light. I could use the sun, but this is much more fun. I expose it to the light for 1 minute. It's the ultraviolet rays that actually make the impression on the plates. It's time! Back in normal light, the image has been exposed to the plate. Now it's time to develop it. I disassemble it, take some water, immerse the whole thing in water, and using a scrub brush, I scrub the photopolymer plate. The scrubbing takes off the emulsion, and the part that's exposed is left raised. This is what I'll use to make the impression in the clay. Next, I'll use a blow dryer to blow off any excess water. Then I go to the black light, expose it for 5 minutes so that it hardens. After that, it needs to dry for 20 minutes. Now that it's dry, I can cut it. How's that for a first impression? Now that I have my photopolymer plate, I'm going to roll out the clay. I use the cards to maintain a uniform thickness. Next thing I do is I make sure that I lubricate all surfaces with olive oil. The clay won't stick to anything. It's time to start rolling it out. This is medium fire metal clay. It's actually made up of organic material, plus it's fine silver particles, all embedded into a clay that's much like ceramic clay. I started working with metal clay because it was a creative outlet, and now it's become a passion that's consumed my life. I love it. Now that it's the thickness that I want, it's time to make the impression with the photopolymer plate. Perfect. I'm going to make another impression with a leaf. This is a teeny tiny grape leaf. I use a rubber-tipped clay shaper to make sure the impression is as good as possible. The impression's perfect. Now I'm going to use a tissue blade to cut the piece. For the last cut, I leave a little bit of extra room on top so I can put in the holes for the jump rings. I use a mug warmer to dry it. Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. It's been about 10 minutes. Looks like it's dry. I'm going to drill holes. I use this pin vise to drill a hole for the jump rings. I have to sand the edges. After the emery board, I use a sanding sponge to sand the sides and the back. I'm done sanding, and it's time to put it in the kiln. I put the pendant in the kiln, and now it's time to burn off the binder. 1650 for 2 hours. The organic binder will burn off, and what you're left with is solid silver. It's out of the kiln and cooled. This is silver in its natural state. I'm going to use a regular wire brush to burnish down the silver. This is the magic. It's going to go from white to silver. Watch. Now that I have my pendant burnished, it's time for the patina. For that, I use liver of sulfur. The reason I use liver of sulfur is it oxidizes the metal and turns it black. To do that, what I'll do is take some hot water, add a couple of nuggets of the liver of sulfur, and then dip the piece into the mixture. The one bad thing about this, it smells like rotten eggs. The liver of sulfur has done its job and turned the pendant completely black. Now I'm going to take the rotary tool and remove the liver of sulfur off the top layer, leaving the liver of sulfur in the recess. That way the type will show up. The pendant looks great, but I'm not leaving it silver. The next step is to paint it with liver of sulfur just on the leaf portion. That'll really make the leaf pop. After that, I'll dip the whole entire thing into the liver of sulfur that's been diluted, and that'll give it a nice golden sheen. I've achieved the desired color, and I've added a couple of jump rings and added my chain, and I have a completed botanical pendant. And now it's ready to make a great impression.
Up next, Patrick is back in his San Francisco, California studio. He's using colorful ribbons to create a unique photo holder that is right on the button. Now we return to San Francisco, California, where Patrick is unraveling another clever idea. He's paying tribute to his nearest and dearest with a layered ribbon design.
I'm back. My next project is a ribbon photo holder. To start, I need some ribbon. I cut it into a desired length, and then I need some more ribbon. I chose a contrasting color. I use a hot glue gun to glue the tops of the ribbons in place. Hot glue is quick and easy. Now that this is glued in place, I need to put on the magnet. With the magnet in place, it's time to put the buttons on the front. I start off by using a picture of my mom. Hi, Mom. Put this on the ribbon, and then I mark above and below the photo. Once I've made my marks, I remove the picture, and it's time to put the buttons on. And I hot glue these as well. After I glue on the buttons, I glue on the roses. Now that the roses are in place, there's one more decorative element. I take a button, cut off the shank, I glue it to the top of the ribbon. Now that everything's glued and dried, I have to cut the bottom of the ribbon into a fishtail. I cut the fishtail by folding the ribbons in half and cutting on a diagonal. And the final step is to put in the photo. The photo slips underneath the buttons. And here's my photo frame that's fabulous. It's a picture-perfect ribbon, ready to put up on my wall.
Everywhere we look, we find talented crafters churning out really great ideas. Guess what? We've just shown you 3.